Sjaak didn't have too much money. He just had a plan. And the plan was simple. Get your ass on the bike, carry everything you can, and just start riding, and riding, and riding. The experiences he's been through, I mean, that goes beyond any simple story of a guy that goes out on an adventure. That makes it a life story. It makes it a world picture. The guy is an ambassador for himself and for countries and for adventure and for free spirit. He decided to go his own way and do his own thing. But Sjaak also has an eye for environment, for people, for details, for stories and adventures and little things, and that's what he brings back with him. If you meet Sjaak in daily life, you would just run and don't even see him. But if he's in his element, he stands for something.
Well, I actually don't build it up how great it's gonna be. I just let things come like they are. I just enjoy it and dream away whatever I'd like to dream about. I'm a big dreamer. I follow my heart. This is what I do. I don't know what to expect there is on the next corner. And that's the nice thing about traveling. I'm from a tiny country in Europe. It's a town called Maashees. It's on the River Maas. It's one of the 3 biggest rivers in the Netherlands, and that's where I'm from. My father was growing vegetables on the land, and we had pigs. From the beginning on, my parents knew that I was different than others. They just didn't know why.
Net als iedereen, denk ik, zo'n beetje. Hè?
Toch wel een beetje anders.
Misschien een beetje anders dan een ander, maar hij moest alles ondervinden en alles meemaken.
Ik was toch wel anders als anderen. Hij ging zijn eigen weg. Ja. Had zijn eigen ideeën, eigen opvattingen. En toch wel iets anders dan zijn doorsnee broer.
I was always called a rebel at the school. I was very often sent away from school by the teachers because I didn't want to obey what they were telling me to do, and that comes back in the rest of my life. I just cannot take orders from people. I want to live my own life. I also worked for a potato trader. He has land too, and I did just everything on there. I did the quality control of the potatoes in the stores. I did the quality control on the fields. I worked on the fields. I did mechanical stuff. I even designed machinery to make the process quicker, cheaper, better. I just did everything. And I had a very good boss there. He knew that he should not tell me exactly what to do. He knew that he can ask me to do things, and I always had my heart in the job, and I was doing the best for him.
Sjaak was een mannetje van alles eigenlijk. Die was technisch, tractorrijden, heftruck, alles. Alles. Hij kon alles. Elektriciteit, techniek en met de hand in de potatoes. Hij was een hele gedreven man. En als hij druk was, dan stond hij onder spanning. Dan moest ook alles voor hem wijken. Bijvoorbeeld met personeel, chauffeurs. Die konden, als ze hem niet kenden, maar die kon hij eigenlijk door die spanning zo soms tekeer gaan dat het personeel zegt, wat is dat voor een druif?
Hij heeft me ooit verteld,
Nee.
toen werkte hij bij Bongers.
Ja.
Je moet niet denken, pap,
Ja.
dat ik altijd bij Bongers bleef
Niet werken. Zo zei.
Dus die zat
Die
hier
gedachte?
rechts al in zijn gedachten.
Ja.
Het was een jaar voordat hij echt ging, had hij gewoon gezegd, ik wil een gesprek. Ik ga een wereldreis maken. Een jaar voordat hij vertrok.
There's nothing wrong with going to a normal, regular job if you're happy in it, if your heart is in it. But if your heart is not in it, if you're not happy, you're doing the wrong thing. I started off with a normal life, working, making money. But I questioned myself all these things. Why should I do this? Why shouldn't I live my life like I actually really wanted? Like everybody has in their mind and dreams. And I like to live my dreams. That's exactly what I do. Well, in Europe, when I was going on a vacation, there was planned it would be Spain, for example, or that, but that was virtually it. You just take off and you see where you end up. In the morning, you look at the map and think, oh, that looks windy, that looks nice, and you go for that part. If you don't like it, you go the other way.
He always was the first one who was awake, and he always had to wake us because after a few beers, we weren't that early, so.
We came home late and
Yeah.
Sjaak wants to go at 7 o'clock in the morning, but we left at about 11 normally.
And even in the beginning, he was a more experienced motor rider than he was, and than we all were. So.
I think he still is.
Yeah, he still is.
I like to be on the road and decide where I want to go. And if you are with a group, you always have to look to the other person what he wants. And sometimes I just feel like the whole day riding.
He had to watch us. He was always like a hawk in the group. When somebody was missing, he was the first one who noticed it and who drove back to see what happened, or that the bike broke down, or if something had happened. Yeah. And after a few trips, he didn't like it anymore here in Marseille. He really wanted to go away again and again. So I think he's a life traveler. He will never stay at one spot, I think.
Well, for me, it became boring. And that's why I decided to do a long one. And I always wanted to see Australia. That just touched me. And I decided to go over there and I shipped my bike to Sydney in Australia. Drove around 4.5 months. Then I shipped my bike back to the Netherlands and went with a backpack to Indonesia. Indonesia I loved, but backpacking I hated. So I wanted to do it all on the bike. I just missed the wheels. About 2 years after that trip, I took off. I gave up work, I gave up virtually everything I had, and started world traveling. And in a way that was strange, because what you leave behind, and in a way it's very nice because what lies all ahead of me. I was addicted to travel. Just wanted to stay on the bike. And that's what I did.
Hij heeft wel eens gezegd, hij wil op alle mooie plekjes op aarde, die wil hij gewoon ontdekken. En, ik denk dat hij daarom toch die een drang erin zit om dat te verwezenlijken.
I looked what countries I wanted to visit and draw a line in between them, and that's how it started. I knew I wanted to take my time for it. I don't want to cross the countries. I don't want to say that I travel around the world. Actually, my first trip was never around the world. It was to the other end and back.
Ja, nou, dan zou ik vertellen, ja goed, dat we een zoon hebben die op wereldreis is. En dat eigenlijk een beetje zijn leven is.
Well, my parents, they love what I do, and they're completely behind me. And that's really nice, because it gives you a far better feeling than when your parents wouldn't like what you do. You're far more relaxed knowing that.
Ja, ik vond dat goed.
We hebben dat altijd goed
Ja,
gedaan. We
hè.
hebben hem altijd zijn weg laten gaan wat hij
Ja.
zelf,
Ja.
wat hij zelf was. Ik heb nooit gezegd dat
Nee.
moet het niet doen of we moeten het zo doen. Zijn eigen weg laten gaan.
My brother, he's a bike, although he doesn't drive now at this moment. He knows who I am. I don't actually know what he thought.
Ik denk avonturiersbloed. It's in him.
My world travel means that I live my life on the road, and I live my life like I like to live it. There's nothing that I want to show people. It is just that I want to do certain things because I want to do them, just for myself. I wanted to achieve it, I want to see it, I want to experience it. Well, I say I made the right choice because my heart is in it, and if your heart is in it, you succeed in everything.
He walked in and he said that he had this great plan to travel the world, and he was going to do it on a superbike rather than one of those knobby tired machines. And we thought, this is number 50 weirdo that's going to do an incredible thing.
My motorcycle is a Yamaha R1. Now, this is a sports bike, crutch rock as you call it here. I wanted to search for another name for it, but I can't come up with it. It's a very fast bike, a bike you would take on a racetrack, not on a world travel. That's what other people think.
He insisted on the R1, and we from Yamaha, we had a lot of other models in our range more suitable than the R1. But Sjaak is an outstanding person, as well the R1 is an outstanding bike.
I like this bike because of the beauty of it and the sound of it and the cornering ability. But I had to make it a world travel bike, so I had to build the boxes on. I built them myself with help from some friends. In the boxes is virtually everything that I need to be self-sufficient. There's camping equipment, there's food, there's tools, there's spare parts, there's clothing, little medical kit. So for me, it doesn't matter that this bike has low ground clearance, that it doesn't handle on off-road, because I want that. time is my friend. I don't have to go quickly to somewhere and need the right bike for the right terrain. Well, my bike can go virtually everywhere. Can't go to the moon. As long as you want that, you get there. It's all a matter of how much effort do you want to put in it. I mean, I don't want to carry it up a mountain, but there's no need to go up that mountain. If there's a road around the mountain, I will take the road around. But if there's no road around, I will go over the mountain. I'm sure I took the right choice. For me. Maybe not for you or for somebody else, but I took the right choice.
What you see there, it almost can be done with that bike, but he's done it. Crossing the rivers with a boat, and you see him hanging in cranes and everything like that. Yeah, normally you don't do that with the bikes that here riding. Most people are so cuddling in their bikes, and there may be no scratch on it, and he's driving and doing everything with it.
Sjaak is a really good mechanic. He knows his bike from every detail. He can fix his engine when it's broken in the middle of nowhere, maybe in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, when Sjaak has a problem, he always sends me an email on PC in the back. And then we try to solve the problem, and then we send an email back to him, and most of the time we don't hear of it, so we think that he solved the problem right.
You must be determined in health and with your body, and also for your motorcycle, of course. You have to take care of that so that it will run for 4, 5, 6 or 7 years.
It's not just the bike, it's the thing that he decided to go his own way and do his own thing.
For me, it was actually quite an easy choice because I like this bike and I follow my heart. And I find it more important that you follow your heart than what is supposed to be the right choice.
It shows that you can make the choice sometimes to bail out the daily hassle, get away from your naggy things and choose freedom.
Now, this is a sports bike. This is not an off-road bike. And people just say, oh, you cannot ride the sports bike across the Sahara. And I said, why not? Well, you can't. So, did anybody try it? No, but you can't. Now that, for me, is already a reason to not giving up. And actually, one of those guys said he was really laughing at me, so I was even more determined. Although I thought maybe I have to rent a camel and have me towed through, but I'm gonna go through the Sahara with that bike. Now, I found out that it wasn't that difficult at all. In the beginning I got stuck, but as soon as I know how to drive the Sahara, you find out low pressure in the tires and keeping your speed. And I was actually started playing, and I was reaching speed up to 100 miles an hour, and nobody could keep up with me. And then those people say you cannot, but nobody knew. They didn't try it. They just thought that what other people say is true. Now, I always, in my mind, I ask myself that question: why do people say it, and is it true, and why do they say it? And you find out that lots of things that people take for granted are not like that. One of the things that I learned being on the road, that a person can do everything if he really wants it. There are two ways of being alone. There's one way that you are alone as there's no other person around, which actually hardly happens. There's always people, especially when you are alone, always people come up to you because they know there is no other you're talking to. There is not that much of a barrier for people. So that's one type of alone. The second type of alone is the not having a decent conversation. And that is another type of alone. And that is what happens, for example, in the Congo, where you're not alone. There are lots of people around you. But you are alone because you didn't have a conversation for ages.
I don't think he has problems with being alone. I think he likes to be on his own.
When I'm busy with my travels, I'm happy in my way. It's not that I feel lonely. Absolutely not. And if you're having a hard time traveling through some hard terrain, that keeps your mind busy anyway. On my trip, I met a girlfriend, which is not my girlfriend anymore at this moment. Also, we are a lot in contact. Traveling came in between our relation. I never had that before, but I really miss that. But I can't give up this life.
When I went to Africa down, I wanted to do the west coast of Africa. That's impossible because at that stage, because there's a civil war in Angola. And it felt bad. It really felt bad. My heart told me not to do it. So I heard about another option, and that would mean that I could get rid of my whole plan of doing the west coast and going to the east coast, which is in a way very easy. Now, because Angola felt so bad, I went for that option. But I couldn't get a visa to get across Sudan. So I went back to my Angola option and traveled down direction Angola. And on my way traveling down, I met two Swiss people who said about the possibility of going into the Congo. And although also in civil war, it immediately felt good. I had all the documents to travel through the country and through the mineral zone. And there was an arresting order out on me. Don't ask me why. I had not done nothing wrong. I wanted to go through, even if there is no road. And I knew that there was hardly or no road. There are sections that it is possible to do. There are sections where the four-wheel drive still go, but there are big sections that four-wheel drives cannot go. The reason that they cannot go is because there are trucks going, and they make such a deep trails that the four-wheel drive gets stuck in there. With the motorbike you can, because you need only one trail. So you can follow those, but these are really a hell to drive through. So very often I take the little path where the pedestrians walk, where the people with the pedal bikes go. That is how most of the cargo get transported in the Congo, in that area, with pedal bikes. Two people pushing a pedal bike over those little trails. That's where I go with my motorbike. But sometimes there are sections that go steep up, and there are parts that I cannot go through. With a pedal bike you can, so I have to make my own bridge, my own things like that. I have to go in dugout canoes. It is really, really difficult, but that makes it interesting. I broke my toe when I fell down, and I twisted my ankle extremely bad. And then I had to cross a railroad in the Congo. Now, it's not a railway crossing like it's here. It's just those two iron bars which are sticking about this high up. And I put stones in front of it and behind it, and for the other one also in front and behind. Now my bike, I drove my bike over the first one, went fine, over the second one, and then my bike slipped off the stones, and it kept hanging on the iron bar, and it was like doing like this. And believe it or not, there it was. I stand there with a broken foot, and the bike stuck on the railroad, and I had to pull it off. And I became very strong then. I pulled it off. Pain just left me. Later on, it was a very scary thing. Now, this was continuously going on like that. There was no road, you struggle. Sometimes you do 10 miles, 15 miles in a day. But I'm relaxed because I don't have nowhere where I have to go. If I make it today only 10 miles further, I make it 10 miles further. It doesn't matter. Time is my friend. There's no rush, no hurry, and that makes me relaxed. Being relaxed, that means you're happy. Then you're fine. That's what's real traveling, you know. That is not written down. And it turned out to be good. Now, some people say, but it was hell. You broke your foot, you twisted your ankle very badly, you had problems with the military who wanted to arrest you. There was no road. It took you 3 months to go through. How can you say that you made the right choice? Well, I did, because I got through. So people saw what I faced there as a difficulty, as a problem. But I just see it as part of life, part of an experience. For me, it was exactly what I wanted. It was the best part, in a way, of my travel. But it was hell. Home. I am home. Home is where I am. Home is where my bike is. If you call the home in the Netherlands, yeah, I will go back there, but I will never stay there.
Yeah, I think, Sjaak, it's just does things that nobody else wants to do. And how it became or how it, I don't really know, but it's just that he went for it, you know, he liked his bike. He worked for about 10, 15, 20 years at the same place, and I don't think that's his life, just to stay at one point. He will be sort of a gypsy somehow, you know, somebody who wants to move and everything.
People can move to another house in another city, and that becomes their home. And I move every day to another place, and that is my home. And when I get back to my hometown, that's also where then my bike is. So at that moment, that will be for me home.
If you've been away for a long time in different places, it's hard to come back and settle at one place.
About 3 years after I was gone, that changed quite a lot in my way of thinking. That was really the moment that I let the word home completely go. I have no idea how it's gonna be, what I'm gonna feel. I'm gonna feel joy, it's gonna feel recognition, of course. I'll probably see that the trees grow, things like that. Or that some people still sit outside on the same spot where they were sitting 5 years ago. Except my family and relatives, there's nothing else. That feeling of home, it does not exist anymore. In a way, it sounds a bit sad that it's all over, that I'm gonna finish this 5-year episode of my life. But sometimes you have to finish things to start a new one. The start was in the Netherlands, and that's where we want to go back. I drove down through Europe to Southern Europe, crossed the Mediterranean into Morocco, across the Sahara. That was one of my goals. Did all the western countries of Africa, every now and then hitting a country inland. Then, after doing the whole southern part of Africa, I went to South America. Every country on the mainland there. Central America, North America. From Alaska, I flew to Russia, then Mongolia, China, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, making my way towards the Middle East. And that's where I'm now. I'm now in Egypt, back in Africa, actually. And this is going to be the last real country on my trip. From here, we're going to rush to Europe because they're expecting me back in 2 weeks from now. At the end of my travel, everything is a bit different now. It's exactly what I never wanted in my whole travel, and that was time pressure. At this moment, people expect me to be back in the Netherlands. Normally on a travel, if I don't get there today, I get there tomorrow or next week. Doesn't matter. I had absolutely not expected that it would be so complicated at the end of my trip. When I set the date, I thought I have 2 months left. Everything just didn't work out anymore. I broke down for 2 weeks or something in Saudi Arabia. The breaking down was only a little thing. The problem was that a company who is a courier company who promised to deliver within 4 days doesn't even do it in 8 days. Okay, we still had time, so I drive to Jordan. Arrive there, see Petra, and try to get a visa for Syria to go through there. on my way back from Egypt. Couldn't get a visa for Syria. So now time became my enemy. Then I went to Egypt, saw a few things, and while doing so, Israel became in war with Lebanon. And I couldn't go back the way that I had planned at that moment, and that was taking a boat from Haifa to Athens in Greece. Yes. No problems. You find a company who's gonna fly your bike, and they make you beautiful promises, but they don't keep them. And the bike will be there on the 26th. When you plan these things, you know that it goes wrong. That's why I'm always very flexible and try to adjust and make the plan at the end work. But I'm not in control of these things. That's what I actually hate about shipping or flying or whatever you do when you have to leave your bike, because you're not in control anymore. I was promised to get my bike today. Today, my bike is still in the airport in Egypt. What is going to happen now? I don't know yet. Tomorrow we will find out and find a solution. Normally this isn't a big deal. I'm just flying from one place to the other. And we just wait till my bike is there. If it's one day more, one day less, who cares? But now my whole end of the journey is planned. I have people who expect me to be there on a certain time. Everything goes wrong when time is not your friend anymore. Before, time was my friend, always was my friend. But if there's the pressure, it doesn't work. So it doesn't feel too good to me. The solution is there, you just have to find it. It's just one disaster after the other. Nothing goes like you hope. Everywhere we are one day short, whatever we want. My bike is on its way to fly to Greece, to Athens. And it will arrive, that's not the problem, it's just that I can't get it out. It's gonna be weekend, no customs, I have to wait till Monday. Whatever I try to do to get it earlier, it's not working. So I'm on my own again, totally on my own, which is fine if there's no pressure. But now there's pressure. The pressure of time, the pressure of being on time in France to meet other people, the pressure of being on schedule. But I'm still thinking we're gonna make it. Now we're in France, and today I crossed the Alps, and they are still as beautiful as they were before. Even with all the pressure and with all the other things that I have on my mind, I had time to enjoy, or at least to appreciate the beauty around me. It's always a good feeling when you sit on a bike again. But I was so stressed by other things that wasn't really an enjoyment. I was so busy with, will I be on time? The only thing that really sprung out is that I kept shifting gears while there were no gears to shift. Because there was such a smooth road that I thought I still had gears left while I was already doing 100 k's an hour, which I normally don't even drive. It's still hard to believe that I'm back so close to my homeland. There were quite a lot of people on the 2 stops in the Netherlands. The last stop, we were already a huge group, and they're all applauding there. And it's a bit of a weird thing. And you start talking to those people. And then eventually you leave, and then I had to lead a huge group of motorcyclists, probably over 100 people, over 100 bikes were following me. And you look in front of you and you just see a normal Dutch road, which I'm actually familiar with. And you sink a little bit away in thoughts. You see just a road, and then you know, oh, all these people, and then you look back or you look in your mirrors and you see only headlights of motorcycles, and they're all there for me. So looking forward and looking backwards is such a different thing. But in this case, looking backwards is a good thing to do. We got into the Netherlands. To be very honest, the feeling that I had there wasn't too much. Then we finished the official part of the trip by Yamaha, which was quite a thing. It was a big audience. There were many people with motorbikes who joined me for the last bit. That was really nice. After that, we went back to our hometown, and at the moment that I started getting closer to my hometown, I recognized all these things. Then you really realize that you're going back, that the trip ends. This was a mixture of positive and negative things. It's nice to see it all, but I really realized that my trip was going to be over. "5 years, 5 months, and a few days. I'm not tired. I'm actually sad that it's over. We are following the herd, you know. If one person does this, everybody has to do that. And what everybody does becomes normal. And if you don't do what everybody does, you're not normal, you're different.
He's a little crazy. Because if you don't crazy, you can do this trip. You don't do this trip. You must be a little crazy.
I don't think Sjaak will stop traveling. He could come home to the Netherlands, but I don't think it will be for a long time. I think Sjaak's crazy, yeah. But if he wants to be crazy, why not?
He's not a normal guy anymore that he can drive around the village and do normal stuff.
I think it's a lifestyle, and it will be hard for him to fit back in normal life once he returns from his journey.
I know for sure Sjaak doesn't have a home. His home is on the road. It's all a great experience, big adventure. It is.
You have to be a little bit crazy to do a thing like that, but that's his charm.
Ik denk dat het niet meer mogelijk is als je 15 jaar zo over de wereld rondgezworven hebt, dan is een baan hebben, denk ik, een vaste baan op één plek, is niet meer mogelijk, denk ik.
Traveling becomes your life. Traveling is my life. My tent is my home. If I close my tent behind me, I feel actually secure. Also, there is only a little thing in between me and outside, but I feel secure.
Hij wil zijn zin wel doordrijven, ja, dat denk ik wel, ja. Ja, als je iets voorgenomen hebt, dan zal dat gebeuren.
En achteraf kunnen zeggen, ja, hij was heel gedreven. Als je in zijn werk was je 200% inzet, maar dan moest er ook niks in de weg leggen. Dan hadden we er problemen mee. Dat is gewoon zo.
Just follow your heart.
Even if it's sometimes hard, because when I hear and see where he's going through with that bike, sometimes impossible, and it works out very well.
Live your life. Live your life like you want it. If you really want things and work towards it, it will happen. I know that I have to be on the road, one way or the other. I will always keep moving. Always follow my heart. Always.